Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Random Talk Sunday. And today I thought it would be interesting to kind of go over my thoughts in regards to money and, in particular, financing, because I know money is obviously a big hot button issue. At least, obviously, I think nowadays, and probably since the dawn of, I guess you could say, our whole existence pretty much as humans, because at the end of the day, even back before we even had a form of currency, we obviously exchanged things, and that was our way of dealing with money, supposedly. But now, obviously, it's all based within currency, and oftentimes there's a lot of debate as to where the money goes, and that's caused obviously a lot of issues and problems. But the way I see money is I just see it as a form of exchange, like anything else. I mean, it's just designed to get you something. That's what money is designed to do. It's a means to an end, really. Money, largely in part. It's they say that it's designed to be rewarding somehow, but at the end of the day, it is just a way for you to get the things that you need and the things that you want. That's pretty much all that money serves a purpose of, and generating the economy and whatnot, and whatever all these economists say. And again, it can be valuable. It's not to say that money doesn't have any value to it. I mean, obviously, it has a certain amount of significance to people's lives, but oftentimes, most of the stuff that we spend on, at least, the majority of it, I'd say, I mean, at least nowadays, is almost, it's just kind of, it's almost tic-tac-y. It's kind of, you could live without it. I mean, it's not like something that's really so super duper necessary. Um, I mean, really the most important things that you need to spend money on are food and shelter. Like, those are the main things that really are really the most valuable and the most important, when you really think about it. Is really anything that's part of the home, really, and then that's part of getting food. Clothes maybe a third, obviously, another importance. Um, but if you had to probably say what were the two most important things, obviously shelter as well as food is the most important. Those two are probably the most important out of everything else. Um, but I think the problem is people sometimes uh, spend it on things that really don't bring back any value to them. They just kind of buy them for the sake of buying them, or they upgrade to that latest phone for however much money because, oh, it's the latest technology, even though you don't really end up using it or really utilizing it. um and I think that's a problem, and I think largely that might have to do with the fact that there is so much excess for us to consume, because we do have so many people living. So, the amount of choices and options that we have is good to have. But I think there comes a point where, you say to yourself, well, is really money worth spending on things, at least a lot of things nowadays? I mean, can you really get by with, um, you know, uh, I'll, can you really get by with things that, are coming out that you maybe really don't even need? I mean, do you really need a smartphone? I mean, do you even really need it? I mean, if you really think about it, do you really need a smartphone? And if you just want to communicate with people, you don't really need a smartphone to do that. You can still use an old chunky phone to do it. Um, so, I think it's just one of those things where I feel like we're making a lot of stuff that really is just kind of, you know, kind of just for more convenience purposes, rather than it being a very genuine innovation, and really something that we could use and really utilize. But at the same time, money can't exist without consumption, because if people don't consume stuff, the people that make the stuff are not going to make any money. And that's just simple econ 101. I mean, production and consumption have to exist. They both have to exist, otherwise you do not get it. And if you overproduce, then you have inventory, and then when you don't produce enough, then you have a shortage. And those things are never good, because you always need to make sure you have that right amount of balance, because otherwise, if you have more inventory, you're wasting. And if you have less, then you don't have enough to keep up with demand. So it's really a catch-22 when it comes to money and financing. It's really, you need people doing things, and then you need people going out and spending on things. So it's one of those things where it needs to all kind of form into this circle of produce, consume. It has to be in the cycle. And if the cycle stagnates and doesn't end up churning well, then obviously there's going to be a lot of problems. That's why it's important for people not to run themselves into debt. And it's important for people not to waste their money. I mean, I think I would definitely suggest people save way more than what they earn, and then eventually spend on whatever else is out there, I mean, why not just do that? I think that would be a whole lot better. And I think really when you look at it, the convenience factors is really what we're kind of at least producing now. I mean, we're producing things that are for convenience. And I mean, I think it is this idea of trying to get things out there so people will buy. I mean, at the end of the day, money is money, and there's often a lot of political debate as to where that money should go to and what that money should be spent on, and who should have access to the money, and who should really control the wealth, and who should not control the wealth, and how much money should go here and how much money should go there, and what we should do with this money, and blah 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 blah. And how do we pay off this money that we would put a debt on, So it really is all, it really is a huge game, really, as far as money is, and really financing things are concerned. You can put money wherever you want it to, but it's ultimately designed to really benefit the whole cycle. And obviously, advancements have benefited mankind significantly and have generated wealth and all that. But at the end of the day, it has its value. It serves its purpose. But I think what people sort of, I guess, refuse to realize is that the important things are really the things that you should really ultimately spend most of your money on, or at least spend some money on, as opposed to, these kinds of tic-tacky, things that, really don't amount to anything, and are just, you buy it and then you never really use it. I mean, and a lot of things now are kind of just, designed to be things that ultimately, for some reason, just don't get used. I mean, people just kind of stack things up and never use things. And I think it's important to spend less and then spend it on things that you genuinely want to spend on, rather than going out and spending on a ton of things that you don't use at all. And I think that's really where money and kind of financing your money comes in, and what ultimately leads to better financial outcomes is choosing to live more minimally, choosing to trying to be a little bit more conservative and not go crazy into a shopping spree every weekend or however many days of the month. It's because at the end of the day, if you spend things on stuff you're not going to ultimately use, then you may never be able to spend on things that ultimately will amount something of real value. So I think that's really the important thing to understand about this kind of stuff. And I mean, it's really basic math and just putting sort of your money where your mouth is, so to speak. And I think that's really what ultimately money serves. It's designed. I don't think it's designed to be evil, and I don't think it's designed to be really good necessarily. It's just designed to be a means to an end. It's a means to get something. That's really the end of the day what money means. I don't think money has any more grandiose purpose. Like, I'm not one of those people who thinks, oh, if I have this amount of money, that must mean that I am blah, blah, blah. No. No, that doesn't mean jack, at least to me. What matters is how you use that money, and if you really consider whether or not there are more important things out there in this world than just retaining cash, retaining this paper that we call money. And I'm of the philosophy that money isn't really the root of all evil, but it's not it doesn't make you happy either. I just think that living within your means is important, and I think sometimes that can run awry if you don't spend it on things that are worth value. And like I've said before, I think really the most value I think I could get out of money is really traveling, food, shelter, and clothing. 3 things. It's really all that I need. And yeah, maybe transportation, obviously, a car. Yeah, that's another 5th thing you could add in there that's also important. But really, when you boil it down to everything else, that's really ultimately all you need. And yeah, maybe insurance for the various things, but that really ties in with the car and with the home and all that stuff. So really, at the end of the day, that's really what the value that ultimately money is designed to bring people, is just kind of a means to an end, a means to get things that will ultimately have value. And sometimes that ends up, I think, running awry a lot of the time, because sometimes people spend it on things that they don't end up using or don't generate any value for them, or on things that really we as human beings could probably live without. But yeah, I think that's really ultimately all I can say when it comes to this video. However, if any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye.